Okay, we are recording. Right, rock and roll.
Okay, but everybody's not here. Who's missing? Barry. Where's Barry? Oh, my golly.
He just ran away.
He's run away.
And
He's
John,
one of my.
Somebody called
Nancy and
somebody.
I are here. Hello,
Yes.
Nancy.
hello, Debs.
I may be here, but I'm not all there, so it makes no difference.
Well, there's nothing unusual.
No.
Brother,
I can say that.
I've got a nice brother.
I
Love
know
him.
that.
Mandy and
Well, I hope you appreciate it.
John.
Oh, always.
Good. Hello,
Well done.
John. Hello, Mandy.
Hi, Auntie. Hi, John.
Hello, Mandy.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Sean.
Hello, hello. Miss Ellie. John's using a
Galaxy.
different machine tonight. Okay.
Who's walking around?
Somebody's hot.
Yeah, somebody's pulse works. This is good.
Very exciting.
Oh. Oh. Golly.
Okay, John's battling to connect us here. Right, should we get going before time runs away from us? And
There's
let's
Barry.
go.
Yes, there's Barry. Okay,
Hello, Barry.
awesome.
Hello.
Can we start? Hello.
All good?
Good, thank you.
Go for it.
Good.
I'm just going to mute
Good
everybody.
evening, everybody.
I'm going to mute you all, and then Denny, you can unmute
Thank
yourself.
you. Oh,
Are you still alive? Denny,
hello.
there
Can
we
you
go.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, there we go.
Go for it.
Awesome. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about strong bones and healthy joints. Strong bones tomorrow need focused nutrition today. You need more than just calcium to build strong bones. Many of us do not get adequate magnesium or enough vitamin D, nutrients critical for supporting calcium absorption and utilization. So tonight we're going to actually do the whole thing of mobility and how to get our bones and our healthy joints healthy. So we're going to first start with full motion, then we're going to go to CalMeg, and then we're going to go to an overall understanding of this whole thing. So Barry, will you please talk to us about full motion?
Just unmute yourself first.
Sorry, I took the red line off. Right, you can hear me. Right. Good evening, everyone. I'm actually glad I was asked to speak about full motion because mine is actually a personal testament of what full motion has done for me. But I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of why we have to have full motion and what's the reason for it. We all know we have cartilages, okay? And it's a slippery tissue between the covers or ends of the bones and joints and healthy cartilage. Allows the bones to smoothly guide over one another without joint pain or discomfort. That's basically what a cartilage is all there for. Osteoporosis is a breakdown of the joints, cartilage, and commonly causes joint pain in people of all ages. So it's not only for the old toppies, it's for the young folk as well. It affects anyone. Glycosamine is a primary building block of our joint cartilage. If we don't have that, we have a problem with our joints. So that's the main part of which is in our bodies, which is what we need. It is naturally produced in the body from glucose and amino acids, glutamine. As the body ages, its capacity produces glutamine drops, and ultimately cartilage declines. So, as I said, it's one of the most important we need. The loss of the glucosine produced within an increase in demand due to physical activity. Plus, age can result in pain, stiffness, and loss of mobility. And this is when I read this up, this is one of the main reasons why I'm so passionate about this product. Supplementary to the diet, glutamine, specifically minerals and herbs, can provide what the body needs to maintain and even improve our joint health. So thanks to Neolife, they have actually produced pharmaceutically a glutamine hydrochloric, which is actually one of the main ingredients to replenish what we're actually losing. The body needs to maintain in the joint health. So in a nutshell, we need this product to maintain our cartilages and to be able to carry on going with it. The beauty about it is we need 3 tablets a day, one morning, lunch, and dinner, and preferably drink it with water and not with cool drinks or anything else like that. And the best results are taken in each tablet before a meal. So in other words, just before you're about to eat, take one of the tablets, one of the capsules. That's the best way to do it. Now, the reason why I'm passionate about this product, quite a few years ago, I got to the stage in life where I'd wake up and my hands would be like this, stiff, sore, and I couldn't open them up until I sort of like exercised them. And when I realized that Neolife had a product called Full Motion, I started taking them. And I was absolutely amazed. Within, I think it was probably not even 3 days, I noticed that my joints were a lot more flexible and that I could move, not only my fingers, but also my other joints, my knees and what have you, were a lot more flexible. And when I realized that with that and the 2 other products, the Omega and the CalMag, I can understand why all 3 work in conjunction with each other, because you can have one or the other, but they're not going to work. You need the group, as it were, to be able to get your full motion going. And another testimony, when I had a knee op on my left knee quite a few years ago, it suddenly just went all funny and locked and wouldn't move and all the rest, and it was really, really sore. And the specialist said, oh, you need to have an op. Anyhow, we had the op, only to discover that the cartilage in my knee was fine in the front, but in the back it had actually disintegrated. And that was put down to old sport, a lot of cycling, and obviously the age factor as well. But since I've continued with Full Motion, with the Omegas and the calcium, my left leg is actually, I call it fit, because I can cut the grass, I can do anything. It doesn't hassle me. It might get swollen because of the exercise, but after that, it's perfect. So anyone who suffers with joint problems, I would really, really recommend that you take Full Motion. It works. They really do work. And I'm a big promoter of Full Motion because I can speak from experience. I mean, all right, this left hand of mine's gone through a bit of a war zone and whatever, but I know that without the Full Motion, it would have been a lot worse. Yeah, that's my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Yes, Full Motion is my story. That's the reason why we started Neolife, because of Full Motion. Absolutely awesome product. Okay, the next lady to talk is Ansi, and she's going to tell us about CalMag. Thank you, Ansi.
Thank you, Jeannie. Yeah, CalMag, there's 9 tablets in a container. You can take 3 a day, and it's GMO free, and it's purified pharmaceutical pure shell calcium. Why do we have to take it? As Barry mentioned, for strong bones and teeth. They say that osteoporosis causes about 3.5 million fractures annually. So that is a very, very scary factor if you think of it. It's bioavailable. It helps with nerve transmission and muscle contraction. Yeah, it's 2 amino acids, which is 2 calcium and 1 magnesium. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ansi. Yes, calcium. I use calcium also to go to sleep at night. I have 3 every night, and it helps me with sleep and cramps in the leg. Okay, now our
Can I just share
Man,
something?
Go, Debbie.
yes, Debbie.
Just quickly with the calcium. And something that when we first started, I did not know. And that is your body, every single muscular movement in your body needs calcium. Even the blinking of your eyes and the pumping of your heart. Every single muscle uses that calcium. So if it's not getting it from your food, it's going to take it from your bones. That is the whole cycle of it. They always say your teeth will suffer if you don't have calcium. Well, the reason being that all your muscular movements are using up calcium. So if you're not giving it extra calcium, it will take it from your teeth and it will take it from your bones. Thank you.
Interesting, very interesting. Yes. Okay, Sean's going to give us an overview, and we've got some time for him to talk. So that will be interesting because he works with the bones and the joints every day. So I feel that he knows more about it than me and anybody else, I think. So thank you, Sean. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yes. For those of you who don't know what I do, I am commonly known as the doctor's mechanic, or professionally known as a medical orthotist and prosthetist, which basically means I'm working a lot with orthopedics, orthopedics meaning bones and joints. So yes, virtually all my patients get told about salmon oil, they get told about full motion, and they get told about calcium, and they get an education on why, what, and where each of those products is useful for. Full motion is also one of my favorite products because a few years ago, and I can't even remember how long ago, my wrist was starting to develop arthritis. I had measles as a child, and as a result of that, it affected some of my joints, most specifically my left wrist. And for as long as I can remember, my left wrist had a grating sound, and it was almost like a party trick that I used. So listen to my wrist that was creaking and groaning. Anyway, it got to the stage where it was starting to get painful and I couldn't grip anything, and I thought, no, forget this for a joke. And I'd taken full motion a little bit, and I'd taken salmon oil a little bit, and I decided, no, that's it. I'm not going into this little lot with messing about. So I upped my dosage. And personally, I take 2 salmon oil and 2 full motion every single day. And the result of that is that within a few days, about a week, the pain in my wrist and my thumb had disappeared. And about 6 or 7 months down the line, I was chatting to a patient one day, and I always used to say, and my wrist creaks, and I went, and my wrist doesn't creak anymore. What happened? What changed? And ever since then, I haven't had an issue, but I don't want to go back there, so I just carry on taking it. But yes, these 3 ingredients, the CalMag, the full motion, and the salmon oil, I feel are vital. Basically, obviously we're all born with a skeleton. If not, we would come out looking like a damn squid or a octopus, and we would not get very far because our skeleton is the superstructure of our body. And as Barry was saying, between every bone, there has to be a joint, because if there was no joints, we would all be big and stiff and not be able to move. So between every bone, and that includes the little bones in your fingers, it includes all the bones in your feet, there is cartilage. The cartilage is designed to act as a shock absorber. Obviously, when we are up and walking, our knees take the most strain. Knees and lower back, in fact, because if you think about it, as soon as you get up and start to walk, you've got gravity pushing down, you're at the floor pushing up, and according to Newton's laws, most of that pressure meets in the middle, which happens to be around about your lower back pelvis area, and then obviously your knees acting as shock absorbers for balance are taking a lot of strain. And those are the people that I see on a very regular basis, is people complaining about knee pain. Athletes especially will take big strain. And those include sports like basketball, netball, hockey, soccer, rugby, and running quite a bit, especially the road runners, because they endure a huge amount of shock in their system. And as we were saying, the skeleton is made up of calcium, and it's basically, the skeleton is a lot of minerals. So to the big three that we're talking about tonight, which is your Full Motion, your salmon oil, and your CalMag, I would actually add the multi-mineral as well to really feed your body. Some people need more of each of those things than others. Essentially, your bone will grow, and from about the age of about 21, we are starting to lose bone density. And unfortunately for the ladies, you lose more bone density than us men. Mostly because if you're carrying babies, they are little suckers and they take a huge amount of calcium out of you because they need their own supply to build their own skeleton. If you are not getting your calcium from a balanced diet, which would include veggies and dairy and all those fun things, milk, cheese, yogurt, etc., then your body is going to require the calcium, and the calcium is going to come from the bank, which happens to be your skeleton. And most people don't worry about it. You know, everybody knows about calcium, but no, I don't want to take tablets and I couldn't be bothered, and I'm young, I'm fit, I'm healthy, it's not a problem, until they start to hit 40, 50, 60. And the little old ladies that I see in their late 70s, fortunately, we don't have any little old ladies on this group or business. We're all young ladies. But the little old ladies, and old gentlemen too, for that matter, I will see at around about 60 plus when they land up in hospital with a fractured hip. And the common story will be, I was walking in the garden or walking down the stairs and I slipped and fell and broke my hip. Whereas if you actually broke it down and looked at it carefully, you would probably find that they twisted slightly, broke their hip, then slipped and fell. Because the neck of the femur, which is this part over here, is a weak spot. And that's one of the first areas to break when there is a lack of calcium. The other part is your lower spine. And I have seen cases where people have coughed or sneezed or just simply sat down hard and they've ended up with a fractured spine. They didn't realize it at the time because all they thought was they had a sore back. So calcium is vital. And essentially, ladies specifically from the age of about puberty onwards should be taking calcium and never stop. Men, if you are having a complete balanced diet, you are probably getting the recommended dosage of around about 900 milligrams of calcium per day. Ladies, if you're having a balanced diet, you're also getting about 900 milligrams of calcium per day. Unfortunately, you're needing between 12 to 1400 milligrams of calcium per day. So you're falling short. And vegetarians and vegans especially end up with big problems. Now, some of the things to help with bone density is not just taking calcium. Exercise is a big thing, and not just any exercise, but load-bearing or weight-bearing exercise, walking, running, a little bit of mild gym, lifting a few little weights, and I'm talking 2 to 5 kilos, that sort of thing. Anything to stress the bone will cause it to strengthen. If you've ever eaten chocolate, there are two particular chocolates that I normally allude to when I talk to people about this. If you've ever eaten a crunchy chocolate, you know, the chocolate on the outside with the golden honeycomb on the inside, cut through that, and that is what a healthy bone should look like. It should look like that crunchy honeycomb. Lots of little bubbles in it, lots of little air cells, because a bone is flexible. You know, you should be able to bend and stretch, and your legs, feet, body should all be flexing to a certain extent, a little bit like the wing of an aircraft. Have you ever flown and you look out the window of a Boeing 737 or whatever it is, and you see the wing flapping in the breeze? Not going to fall off because it's got flexibility built into it. We've got the same thing. So if you have good, strong, flexible bones, it's actually very difficult to break them. The problem comes if you're running low on calcium and other minerals to give that strength and flexibility. So that's one of the things that we need. Now, if you've ever eaten an Aero chocolate and you cut through, you'll see it's got much bigger bubbles inside it. That is what an osteoporotic bone looks like. Big, horrible word. Osteo simply means bone. That's where the orthopedic part comes from as well. And porosis obviously means porous, meaning holes. And an osteoporotic bone is not a good thing. And a lot of people, osteoporosis is actually becoming a very common issue these days. You'll see that kids are not drinking milk. They're not eating dairy. They're drinking sodas. And that leaches, any fizzy drink actually leaches the calcium out of the bone and makes it weaker. Anytime that you have an imbalance in the body, nature loves balance. So anytime that there is an imbalance in the body, an injury, like a fracture, like a sprained ankle, like a puncture wound, like a disease, you will have inflammation. And that is the self-defense mechanism of our body, because where there's an injury, there's a weak spot, and the risk for bacteria developing or bad bacteria to develop in that area is very high. So our body comes into gear and it causes inflammation in that area, which is designed to cook out any bugs that might be there. So if you have an injury or an illness and there's inflammation, you go to your doctor, the first thing that he's going to do is put you on a course of anti-inflammatories, which are great, but they sort of kind of cause other problems as well. And I won't get into that whole story, but know that anti-inflammatories can cause problems. A short course of it is not a big deal, sort of like antibiotics. They have their uses, but long-term use, not a good thing. Now, obviously, where there's inflammation, you want to be able to control that. And even in our diet, we have inflammatory foods and anti-inflammatory foods. The simplest way of looking at that is omega-6 is inflammatory, omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. In our westernized diet that we're having today, our ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is way out of proportion. Originally, it was designed, the body was designed to have 1 part omega-6 to 1 part omega-3. In today's diet, that's completely out of whack, and it's usually in the region of anything between 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, being that there's more inflammatory than anti-inflammatory. Now, my most favorite it's kind of hard to have favorites because all the products are my favorites. But my next most favorite to the Full Motion is salmon oil, which is, in my opinion, probably one of the best natural anti-inflammatories that one is going to get on the market today. And those anti-inflammatories are good for all sorts of things. In fact, the salmon oil is good for all sorts of things. It's good for inflammation in the joints. The most common thing that most people are aware of is arthritis. Another big fancy term that the medical people like to give. We love our big fancy words because it sounds really impressive and makes us sound intelligent, but in fact, it doesn't mean very much. Arthritis is simply an inflammation of the joint. And if you've ever struck a match, you take the match out the matchbox and you rub the match against the sulfur on the side of the box. That causes a flame or a spark to develop. That is inflammation. If you had to rub that match on the top of the matchbox, it would be a smooth surface and the match would run quite happily without any problems. My time is running low and it won't spark, but on the rough side, it sparks. And that is what happens in arthritis is the cartilage wears away and now you have bone on bone, which is roughly like a match running along the side of the matchbox, and you have inflammation with a capital I, called by ouch. So a good combination for arthritis, and we won't get into the different types of arthritis because that's another whole talk on its own, is Full Motion and omega-3, because the Full Motion helps to regenerate the cartilage amongst many other things, and the omega-3 is an anti-inflammatory. We have probably one of the purest omega-3s on the market in the world today, and is in fact the only one that has a chain of all 8 of the active ingredient omega-3s that we need. Now, Full Motion, on the other hand, actually is quite a complex little product. It's got more in it than what we realize, and I don't know if you know that. Yes, it's got the glucosamine in it, which is the main ingredient to help to regenerate the cartilage, which means that you take it as a chronic medication, because cartilage, every time that you rub 2 bones together, that cartilage is wearing away, so we need to regenerate it. Now, Full Motion also has numerous other ingredients, namely silica and boron, which are good for the bone, boswellia and bromelain, which are both natural anti-inflammatories, and white willow, which is the precursor to aspirin. That is where aspirin was developed from, was from white willow bark. And white willow has pain-killing properties. So in your bottle of Full Motion, you have an anti-inflammatory painkiller with a repair mechanism to help to regenerate the cartilage. So it is actually an incredibly potent product. So if anybody complains about the price, ask them what their pain is worth to them and tell them that they're paying for about 6 different products in one. They don't have to have painkillers as well. So before I get too technical anywhere else, I'm going to wrap this up because I can talk all night on this, and maybe we can do that at another time. But I'd like to open up as well for any questions that there might be. But suffice to say, if anybody is getting older, I know all of us are getting younger, if anybody has got arthritis, whether it's rheumatoid or osteoarthritis, they need omega-3 salmon oil, they need Full Motion, and they need calcium plus magnesium plus vitamin D every single day. Do not stop it. Take it as a chronic medication. And then if it's an athlete, I would always add in the multi-mineral as well, or somebody with osteoporosis or who's had a fracture, I would add in the multi-mineral as well, just to top up all the other bits and pieces. All right, and that's me wrapped before I get too technical and carried away.
Well done. Wow, Sean, that was awesome. Thank you. Okay, as Sean says, the floor is open to questions. Anybody got any questions?
Let me unmute. Okay. Please just unmute yourself as you
So
go along.
one can say with, okay, so one can say with confidence that, as we know, we can't get addicted to all of these products that you mentioned, and
Correct.
it can't do your body any harm.
No, because
So
all of
they
our
can
products are
use
made
it
from
with
food.
peace of mind.
This is it. Our products are all made
Yeah.
from food. Therefore, there is nothing, unless you can get addicted to food. And I think the only food that one can really get addicted to is sugar. We don't use sugar. And you can't overdose on food either. There are a couple of things that technically one can.
Not this kind of food.
No. And all of our food-based products are simply concentrated food. It is, if you think of food as a floodlight, ours is more of a laser because it is a concentrated version of food. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
I must say, I was shocked in the beginning when I heard that our Carmack had shellfish in. Because we're so used to say that our products are made of whole food. So, well, thank God, up to now, nobody asked me.
It's
What is
actually,
that? So what would I say if somebody asked me?
okay, it's actually the full motion that is derived from shellfish. And it is perfectly safe. You can ask Debbie about that one. But the reason that it is safe is that because of the way that the product is processed, they have taken out the active ingredient that is the allergen that causes the allergy to shellfish. So the protein that causes the allergy has been removed, and all they're using is the calcium part of the shellfish.
Okay.
I know Debbie's got a story on that.
I wanted to
What
ask Sean,
Yes, go Angelina.
if you're taking full motion,
Yeah.
if you take full motion every time,
Mm.
you take that full motion until you die. Is it?
Well, that depends if you want your pain back again or not. You're not taking full strength. I just take a maintenance dose of 2 a day. I take 1 at breakfast, 1 at lunch. But I'm too scared to think of the pain that will come back if I don't take it. I know it won't come back immediately, but it'll take a little while, but eventually it will come back. So that is why I continue to take it. And if you think about chronic medication, if you're on a heart medicine or BP or something like that, they will tell you, yes, you take it until the day you die. So you take it until you don't want any pain anymore.
And the other thing, I always say, we take food every day.
Exactly.
Wow. So yeah.
Exactly. So we're simply eating in a different method 3 times a day. Right, time's running low.
Sean,
Yes.
can I ask you something? You said exercise is important.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if you don't exercise at all,
then your
what
bones
is
will
it?
get weak.
Side effects or sorry?
Then your bones become weak. And in fact, the astronauts who spend time up in the space station have to go through quite an extensive program when they get back to Earth because they're in a weightless atmosphere for so long, they lose bone density and strength. So they have to go through quite an intensive program when they get back to Earth to re-strengthen their bones again. And exercise doesn't mean you have to practice for the comrades on a daily basis. It simply means run up the stairs instead of taking the lift, or try and aim to walk about 5 to 10,000 steps a day.
Okay.
All right, 1 minute left.
Thank you.
What you have to drink? Milk and what?
Any of your dairy products contain calcium, so milk, yogurt, cheese, I think spinach is also a good source of calcium. Most veggies, in fact, will have calcium in them. It's just that calcium is not always that easily absorbed into the system, which is why Dr. Arthur first created ours with a covering, an amino acid covering to allow better absorption. We unfortunately have run out of time, so we're going to wrap, and it's going to cut any second from now. So have a great week, everybody. If you've got more questions,
Bye, guys.
yell, and I'll answer them on the group if you want to.
Thanks, Sean. That was stunning.
Thank you, Sean. Wonderful.
Jenny
you,
Potter and Joy
Akers.
Akers, we're thinking of you. God bless
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
all
Right.
of you. Bye.
Yes.
See you down there.
Thanks,
Bye.
Sean. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, Jen. Bye.
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 Thank you.